Hello, tea family. How are you this evening? I hope you are all having a wonderful week. So tell me hello in the chat or the comments. Let me know what you're drinking. I'm having water again tonight. And yes, I am wearing a sweater in July, but that's because I'm still in New England. Next week I should be home and then we can get back to our regularly scheduled program. But if someone knocked on your door right now, what tea blend would you serve them? So let me know in the chat or the comments and let me know what tea you would serve them if they came over to say hello right now. Would it be your favorite? Would it be something very simple? Would you panic because you have no idea what they like? Today we're going to have a conversation about, ways to make that kind of a decision so much easier. One of the questions that I do hear very frequently is, I love tea, but I have no idea which tea blend or what teas to serve other people. The wonderful thing about tea is that there really isn't going to be a wrong answer unless there's a health consideration. If it has an ingredient that perhaps they're allergic to, or if they can't have any caffeine for medical or choice reasons, then those are considerations. But other than that, that still leaves you a huge variety of teas potentially that you could choose from and offer to your guest. So simply offer some choices, but how do you know what to narrow those down to? We're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. So again, I want to remind everybody, tea isn't about impressing people. So many times people think that they need to have dozens of different kinds of teas. You really don't. Most hosts only have a few chosen, just a handful of teas that really appeal to them. Not everybody's tea cabinet is like my tea cabinet that has a huge variety. I think we have over 40, probably close to 50 different flavors at this and blends at this point. But that's one of those things. But I am a tea person, right? And so I have a lot of blends that we're experimenting on or that we've created or different things like that. But however, before I started blending our teas and we started this business, I would have a few, we had 5 people, 3 children, and the 2 of us in our family, and we are tea lovers. So we would have more than the average because we had to have everybody's favorite in there. But that was still, we would have a good solid dozen to 15 blends. If it was just my husband and myself, we'd probably cut that down to like 7 or 8 of our top blends. So you don't have to have dozens and dozens and dozens of blends. Think of it like, you have a closet, and so many people have a closet full of clothes, but really there's only this much of their closet, but there's only like a dozen or so pieces that they wear on a regular basis. That's what we're talking about. You really only need that core closet or those core teas to offer some. So it's very much the same thing with tea. You only need to have some core different ones to be able to offer. Now, then you want to think about what's this guest like, kind of like, you have different types of guests. One is the I don't like tea, which is funny because we do get this at events that we go to frequently. Oh, I don't care for tea. Okay, that's fine. No problem. Because we have our free samples and they can try it. But we have had so many people like, well, I'll try it anyway, right? They feel like guilty for not trying the free sample. What ends up happening is they're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And it doesn't have sugar, it doesn't have cream, it doesn't have anything else in it. It's just literally the tea blend. And that's where we get to talk to them about the quality of the tea. It doesn't have all the bitter bite. It doesn't have kind of that oily feeling. It's just a very nice blend when you get to taste the flavor. And so not everybody, but a lot of people who didn't think they liked tea realized they didn't like that pre-packaged dust or fannings that they get in the grocery store. And that's why I typically will hear that, yes, there is a small percentage of people that truly do not enjoy the taste of tea at all. that is fine. They don't have to. There's lots of other beverages out there. But a lot of times when people say, I don't drink tea, they're saying, I haven't found a tea blend that I enjoy. Uh, these guests are often ones that are going to want something smooth, approachable, maybe have some flavors in it they like. Like they might not like a black tea with honey, but they might like a sweet fruit blend where the fruit is, or an herbal fruit blend where, let's say, you have that apple cranberry blend, or a strawberry blend, or just a peaches and I'm thinking of like Aloha Breeze, where you have pineapple and you have mango in there. So those are the predominant flavors. They're much more of a fruit flavor as opposed to a tea flavor. Sometimes they would like mint, so something that has predominantly mint but not over the top. They're drinking a mint drink as opposed to tea. So these are ways, the things that you could offer potentially to give them an enjoyable experience. Excuse me. Super late night, super early morning. Okay, so sometimes it just takes one cup or one sip of a different high quality tea to really make a difference. Okay, the second type of guest is the coffee drinker. And believe me, I'm surrounded by them. In fact, some people even add things that they didn't know they were adding to their water when they go to boil coffee. You'll have to ask my handy dandy assistant about that at some point. He's not here right now. But yes, he had a very interesting experience today based on that. But coffee drinkers typically are going to enjoy a tea that has real body, more towards the breakfast blend, the Irish or the Scottish styles, chais, a rich black tea, especially if you have one that has tea base, that it might even have some, I think of one that's like a cacao, so have kind of chocolate notes, and then a little bit of coffee bean in it. So you kind of get a little bit of that. Think of a chocolate covered coffee bean. There are a lot of times a snack. If you add that to kind of a black tea, it's something that's going to appeal to the taste buds of a coffee drinker. If they normally add like sugar and cream to the coffee, do the same with their tea. That's kind of have some of the similar flavor profile and also mouthfeel for them. So those are going to be some teas that typically coffee drinkers don't feel like they're drinking flavored water, and it's going to be very similar to a coffee for them. So like those bold black teas. The third type of guest you would often have is someone who just wants to relax. They are there, they have set this time aside, and this is how they are going to choose to relax. They're spending time with friends and they wanted to check in, and they just want to sit and have that wonderful moment with you, that wonderful moment of connection. So maybe they've had a long day, or they're stressed, or they just need that quiet moment. This is where you want to, this is where you really want to focus on the softer green teas. This is where I'm definitely going to go with my son's favorite, the Ancient Green Dragon, that vanilla jasmine green tea, and add a little sweetness to it. The vanilla is going to add this velvety mouthfeel to it. It's lighter. It's not going to have as much caffeine. Or you could go right into a completely caffeine-free blend, like Maiden's Blush is just a really nice sipping tea that actually doesn't need any sweetness, because the rose petals add the sweetness as opposed to the floral notes in it. So something really simple, smooth, and definitely caffeine-free if this is the type of person that wants to relax. Now, some of us can relax and still drink a highly caffeinated tea blend, like Serene Sunrise. And I'll see if I can get that focused in. There you go. As you can see, this one's a little heavy on the cinnamon, and that's because when I created it here where I am, of course, I didn't bring enough tea. It also, they don't have access to a really good scale, so it accidentally got a little bit too much cinnamon. Now, I know those are in the tea family that would argue it's plenty of cinnamon, or more cinnamon is always a good thing. I understand. But It's not that tea is, sorry, handy dandy assistant's literally calling my phone while I'm live. Well, there you go. Now you know how live it is. Okay. So this is someone who wants to relax, really stick to what helps relax them, offer them, a black tea, or would they like that ancient green dragon green tea, or would they like a caffeine free blend, and see kind of where they're feeling. It's okay to ask people what would appeal to them. Then you're going to have the adventurous guest. They are someone who loves to try new things. They are the easiest people to serve because they're looking for something to try, and just one that they haven't had before, or one they can do. And so that is just great. Hey, Bubba, can you call them? Sorry, everybody. All right, I'm going to try and solve this. They obviously really want me to answer the phone right now. Okay, so don't be afraid to bring out something unique, an unexpected flavor combination, putting two different kinds of tea blends together to try something new together. So maybe you take an ancient green dragon and you add some fruity notes to it from, say, a harmony, and you try that. That would be good. And remember, tea is always more interesting if there's a story behind it. Oh, my son loves this one, and oh, we really love this one because we love doing the strawberries in it, and just always smells so good and adds that wonderful pop of color. Or I can talk about my cereal story and how it really brings out the flavor of my cereal in the morning. Those are the kinds of stories that go along with it, and it makes people want to try it and want to experiment a little bit and really, breathe in the moment, so to speak. Another thing to think about is matching the tea to the occasion. Well, if somebody just knocks on your door, then you're like, hey, would you like a cup of tea? I have. And then you can name like a black tea, a green tea, a caffeine free. And then, if you had some with fruit or without fruit or whatever, if something about this person, those are different things that you could do. But sometimes you want to match the tea to an occasion. And think about why people are visiting. Are they visiting first thing in the morning where they might want some caffeine? Is it a bright breakfast time that you're getting together for brunch, and so you want something that feels welcoming? This is just kind of an afternoon conversation with friends where you might want a little pick-me-up, or you might want to start to relax for the day. Is this with dessert after a nice formal dinner and they've opted for tea as opposed to coffee? Is this a summer gathering outside where you might want a lighter tea served over ice? Those kinds of things, some fresh floral or citrusy notes. Think about the tea and the situation. Always, if you're going to serve food, you want to think about how you're going to pair your foods to your teas and what you're going to offer. I do that a lot. I think about the teas that I want to serve, and then I think about the food around the tea. I know a lot of people think about you can also think about the tea and then you fit the food, or the food and then fit the tea. Either way works. Depends on what you want to prioritize. I'm a tea person, so I typically prioritize. A tea gift. Thank you. A tea gift for a friend. If you're going to take tea to somebody's house, think about who they are and how they approach tea, not who you are on this one. Do they like gardening, reading, travel, baking? Do they love strawberries but hate peppermint? Those kinds of things will help you. Do you know that they have certain restrictions health-wise, or that they're trying to avoid caffeine, or they're trying to drink more green tea because they feel like it's healthier? Hint, green tea is not any healthier, any more or less healthier than any other actual black tea blend or oolong blend. Hint. But and then I want you to think about creating that experience. Here's something that people don't often think about. Guests really don't. They rarely. Let me just say it that way. Guests rarely remember every detail and nuance of the tea that they enjoyed. They remember how you made them feel. They remember whether they enjoyed the tea overall or not. Did you warm the teapot? Did you use a pretty cup? How was the food? Did you ask about their day? What did you talk about? It becomes more about the connection and the atmosphere and the experience than it does necessarily the flavor. Oh, we use breakfast blend as opposed to the morning Irish. not necessarily going to remember the nuances of the differences between the two, but they'll remember that you sat down and you spent time with them doing different things. So, that is what I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit today. I hope this kind of conversation has given you a little bit more confidence the next time somebody randomly knocks on your door, you have people over, or you invite people over for tea. You don't need dozens of teas. Ideally you have like 2 or 3 blends that you enjoy, or 4 blends that you enjoy, and you can offer those up. Keep in mind, depending on if you're inside or outside, like right now, I would be drinking a hot cup of tea because I have a heavy winter sweater on. It's chilly where I am. But yesterday it was 100 degrees. So think about that, whether you want it hot or iced. And then just don't worry about being an expert. Just be willing to share kindness and compassion and your presence with another over the cup of tea. So, that is what I wanted to say for today. I want to say thank you for joining me. And again, next week I should be back, and our plan is to do a custom tea blend. So I will pick out some ingredients and we will have a participation about different ingredients and blending them together, and we will create a custom blend together. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I will see you all next week. Thank you.